Hey, welcome to Open Hand Farm. I'm Penny, and I am going to embark on a brand new adventure. One day, I had a friend text a group and say, I have some sprouts, if anyone would like them. And I thought, oh, I like sprouts, but I wasn't able to go get them at the time, so a friend picked them up for me and dropped them off. Well, when I say sprouts, I have sprouted things before where you put it in a jar, you rinse it a couple times a day, and eventually the seed sprouts, and when they get about this long, you can eat them, and they're really good. And that is what I have actually done in the past through the winter to have some greens on hand. But these were not sprouts. These were microgreens. So they had been planted in soil and then grown to about 4 inches. So they had leaves on the top and then these little stems. They were so good. They were delicious. So I decided I would like to be able to grow those at home. I watched a few videos, and the biggest thing that I was concerned about was the lighting to use. But when we moved in here, this grow box was already here. So I'm going to turn the lights on for you so you can see what it is. So I have 2 shelves that have lights, and these are just normal light bulbs like you would have in a workshop or whatever. They are not grow lights, but they do a great job. Every time I'm growing seeds to put out in my garden, they do great. So I have looked at other videos, and a lot of people just use these. Some use LED lights, some use grow lights. So I'm going with what I have. We'll see if it works or not. I have lowered these so that they are not too far from where the seeds are going to be. They're about 8 to 10 inches in between here. Now these are higher. I'm not worrying about those right now. This is where we're going to start. I am learning that there is a big learning curve to go along with this because it depends on the seed that you are planting as to how you plant it or how you grow it. There's blackout days, there's watering, there's misting, there's all this stuff that I'm trying to learn to do. So today, I don't know that I am an authority on this for you, but you come along with me as a beginner and we'll see how hard it is. I will be honest with you and tell you, you know what? This is more work than it's worth. I know that I could go to a Sprouts store, which is a natural food store here in the area, and buy sprouts. So the way that I eat these sprouts is I put them in salads, I put them on a taco, I put them in a sandwich. I've seen people on videos put them in their overnight oats. They are so good, but they're also so nutritious for you. They are like a compacted version of the vegetable that you would eat. So peas are very high in protein, and you're not going to take the time to grow out the pea plant and eat the peas. Instead, you're going to eat all of that energy in a very small space, and it is delicious. I didn't know exactly what kind of seeds I wanted to do, so I bought a variety pack from Amazon. I knew that I liked the pea microgreens, the sunflower seed microgreens, and the arugula. So good. They all were in this packet along with many others. Today I'm going to start 4 of the packets that were in this envelope. I'm starting with arugula and cress. I guess it's like a watercress. It just says cress. The reason I am doing these two together is because they have the same growing conditions. I'm also doing peas and sunflower seeds because they too have the same growing conditions. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I bought some 10 by 10 trays to grow them in, and these seed packets are supposed to be enough for a 5-inch by 7-inch tray. So this is too big for this many seeds. So because my tray is bigger, I'm going to plant half of this with peas, half of it with sunflowers, and the same with the cress and the arugula. The first thing I had to do was soak my peas and sunflower seeds. Now, because they have been soaked, they have a higher chance of rotting or producing E. coli or salmonella, because the growing conditions of microgreens are moist and warm under that light. So it's also an environment that those pathogens enjoy as well. So to keep those pathogens at bay, I soaked them in a hydrogen peroxide solution before I did the overnight soaking. And I will, starting tomorrow, be spraying them with a solution of hydrogen peroxide water in order to keep any fungus or mold or anything like that from happening. I did want to tell you that these seeds have directions on the back on how to plant them. There is a blackout time. It says that they needed to be pre-soaked. It tells their light requirement and when they can be harvested. But in my research, I found a website called On the Grow, and they have a free microgreen growing guide that tells the crop name, the kind of soil to plant it in, whether or not it needs to soak, the grow time, the blackout time, when to harvest it, and any notes that they wanted you to know about growing that specific seed. Now, they also have videos on growing all of these. So I just printed this out in black and white, but on the computer, you'll see over here these little arrows. Those are videos that you can go to see how to grow each one of these seeds. So it is a valuable resource. For a growing medium, they use coconut coir. I don't know if you've ever used it, but it is the byproduct of the outside of the coconut. And it comes in bricks like this, most usually, and it's hard, and you put water on it and it expands and loosens up, and that's what we're going to use today. So I'm going to go grab that because it's been expanding, and then we're going to get some seeds planted. So first I want to show you what one of those bricks turned into. This is about 10 or 11 inches tall, and it's all very light and falls apart and is a great growing medium. So I have a tray here with no holes in it. I'm going to take a tray that does have holes in it, and I'm going to put it on top. And they're going to have their little reservoirs going the same direction. We're going to put a good layer of the coconut coir firmly put in there. Some seeds need more soil than others. Peas can actually be planted without a soil base. But what I've seen people use is like a mesh or a screen-like thing, and I don't have one of those, so I'm going to go ahead and plant them in the soil like the directions say I can do. You don't need a lot of soil for the peas because they grow really fast root systems, but we're doing it anyway because we're going to have our sunflower seeds growing with them, and they're a little bit different. So there's my soil. Now remember, I'm doing half peas, half sunflower seeds. These seeds are big enough that once they're on there, you can move them around, but some of the seeds that I will be planting next, you just have to kind of sprinkle. You cannot move them around like this. When I watch the On the Grow channel, theirs is like solid, compact with peas. So I'm just going to go ahead and push them together like they would have theirs. Okay, now I'm going to add my sunflower seeds. They like to stick to the jar. Now we're going to spread them around as well. You do want them to not be in clumps on top of each other. So there are my seeds. Now what I'm going to do is spray them. I'm going to make sure I'm just misting here, practice in my bucket. Okay, as you can see here in my bucket, it's just misting. So we just want to mist the seeds. Now, I did not wet the soil, so I'm going to mist enough that the soil gets wet as well. The coconut core is damp, so it still has moisture retained in it. So I think that is probably good for now. Now, this is the part that is really interesting to me. What we do next is we take a tray that does not have holes and we lay it on top of this. But if you've ever seen a tray of microgreens, let me just pick up this and show you. See how they're all the same height? So in order to have them grow the same height, you put weight on this. And that way they all start at the same rate. So I only had these bricks, and Mark and I kind of talked about it, and we decided to cut a board that fits inside here. So we'll just lay it on there, and we'll put a brick in the center of that to weigh it down. I don't know if that's enough weight, but we'll see. If I needed to, I could do 2 of them. I believe the weight of the brick that On the Grow uses is 15 pounds, but she has a full tray. So I don't know how much weight I need for this tray. So I'm going to leave it like this. And this will just be an experiment to see what we think. So now this is going to go over in my box on a shelf and sit there. Now, if you have a watering system close by, you can use one of the, handheld sprayers that attach to a hose on the mist setting. I just don't have that capability right now. Now we're going to put our top tray on and our weight. And we're going to put it in next to the other 2. So they're in here waiting for their watering treatment for tonight. And you'll notice that I don't have a light on because they do not need light to sprout. Now this is not considered a blackout period. This is their sprouting period. There's so much to learn, you guys, but it's been exciting. I have really enjoyed it. So I'm going to leave you for now. I'll do the morning misting without you, but I want you to be able to see how they're looking each day. So I will be back in the evening to show you how they're looking each day of the process. So I decided that since we are in the cold basement, I am going to go ahead and turn these lights on just to provide some heat in here for them. And I will go ahead and close my curtain to help hold that heat in. Okay, it's time for our nighttime watering on day 2. Okay, so here are our seeds. So this is what I'm thinking. After looking at the seeds here and looking at the seed packet, I planted them in the spacing that they suggested, and it's too many. I wish that I had gone ahead and planted one whole packet in one pan. So I will not do this again. The next time I will use one packet per pan, because this is so very, very tight. Like, I don't even know how some of these can grow, because some of them, they're even like hard to touch because they're so, like right here, they're all stuck together and compacted. But we're going to keep them going and see what happens. So let's get it watered. All right, first we're going to give it water. Okay, now we're going to spray it again with our hydrogen peroxide. And we're going to look underneath to see if we have any roots under there. I don't see any roots coming through, so we don't need to water the bottom. We just need to focus on the top. Okay, let's check our peas and sunflower seeds. They are definitely still growing, so we're going to go ahead. I want to see how wet this is. This is pretty wet. So I don't know that I still see lots of water sitting on top of these, and I don't want them to get moldy. I'm going to pull this one out. It looks hairy. I guess I'll go ahead and water them because that's what I'm supposed to do. Let's see if there's any roots in the bottom. No roots coming out the bottom yet. So we're going to mist them with water just a little bit. And hydrogen peroxide again. Make sure I get the edges where I found that hairy one. And we'll put our pan back on. We do. Tomorrow is day 3, so we will leave them weighted for tomorrow all day, and then the following day we'll go to blackout mode. And I will see you tomorrow. Okay, you guys, I told you we were going to learn this together. So, I went through and did the watering process like I was supposed to, but the cress totally molded. I had to pull all of it out. The arugula had some mold in it, so I wasn't going to eat it at that point. The peas and the sunflower seeds both got mold in them. And I decided to just trash all of that and start over. But what I did is I went to True Leaf, which is where On the Grow buys their seeds, and I ordered seeds from them. They come by weight, not by pouch, where you just plant a pouch and you weigh them. So I appropriately weighed the peas, the sunflower seeds, and the arugula. I did buy some of the mesh to plant the peas in because I wanted to give that a try as well. But the sunflower seeds and the arugula, I went ahead and planted in the same coconut core as I did before. I put one kind of seed in each tray and did not share trays. And I did not pre-soak the peas and sunflower seeds in the hydrogen peroxide solution. But I did soak them overnight. But I also learned that the peas need to be soaked for 12 hours and the sunflower seeds need to be soaked for 8. So I made sure that I soaked them the appropriate amount of time. So let's see how things turn out after doing everything the right way that I now know, and see if it works this time. This is a speckled pea, and that is what On the Grow suggests using. That's what they use. You just spread them out on the silicone mat, and what happens is the peas are supposed to be really fast growing, and they will go ahead and just grow through the screen and actually lift the screen up, and it will be able to lift the screen and see the roots underneath. So we'll see if that happens for us. So at this point, I water them, just spray them, and I weight it down and put them away. You probably noticed this bag I had on top of my jar. It's a Ziploc bag of water, and it was just holding the sunflower seeds in the jar under the rim so that they wouldn't float to the top and not be able to get soaked. The coconut core is a little damp, which we want. Okay, and I'm just kind of patting it down, making sure it's all kind of in contact. There's no air pockets. We're going to add our seeds. And I'm just going to kind of try to sprinkle them on evenly. I'm just going to kind of spread them out a little bit. Hopefully. Now, something that the On the Grow people do is they add a pH changer to their water so that it has a lower pH. And I did not do that because I want to try to do things without having to buy more and more items. I decided not to do that. They didn't say they won't germinate. They just said they feel like they have a better germination. And now we're going to add water. Now we're going to add a lid with weight and put it in along with the peas. Now we're also going to try to do more arugula. And again, I have a tray with no holes, a tray with holes. And we're going to add our coconut core. Okay, now we're going to weigh out our seeds. So again, I got seeds from True Leaf Market, and I wrote down all the information that I needed off of the video so that I could do it right. I am using a 10 by 10 tray, so I only need 7.5 grams. So I'm actually just going to do 7 grams. Gotta go slow here because it'll get there fast. And we're just going to do our best to kind of sprinkle those around. These we're not going to be able to really move around by spreading with our hands. So we need to try to get them spread out well. We get all the way to the edges here. This is so much more spread out than what my other pan was. So I'm really hopeful that they'll do better. And I'm going to spray it with water. Just give it a good misting. Get those seeds wet so that they can start germinating. So remember that the arugula seeds will turn to kind of a mucilage kind of texture and will stick to the bottom of the tray. Put some weight on it. Okay, there's our arugula. Okay, I feel much better about these plantings. Hopefully they will go well. Tomorrow evening, after I have watered them and taken care of them without you in the morning, then I will bring you back in the evening and we'll see how they look. Okay, this is Thursday, which means all 3 of the trays are going to remain in weighted state. So let me get them out and let's see what they look like. Okay, we're going to start with the peas. Oh, they're starting to sprout. Can you see those? That's awesome. We're going to water them down, and we're going to spray them with our hydrogen peroxide mixture. Okay, we're going to cover them back up and put them back on the shelf. And we have sunflower seeds. Let's see if we have any on the bottom. Nope. That's good. And we do have some sprouting occurring. I don't know if you can see that, but we're going to go ahead and water them, and we're going to spray them with the hydrogen peroxide and cover them back up. And now the arugula, and we might have some still on the bottom of our tray. Oh yes, but it is starting to root. I don't know if you can see that. So it will just go back into the soil and root more tonight. So I'm not going to knock those off. I'm just going to leave them on there, and hopefully they will get rooted into the coconut coir enough to hold them. I think I'm going to spray them here so that they don't dry out, and put them back. Put this back on and reweight them. So this is the end of day 2. They will all remain weighted again tomorrow. So I will do the same thing I just did tomorrow morning, and we'll check back with you tomorrow evening at the end of day 3. Let's see what we have. All right. We have our peas, and they are looking great. They smell good. They don't smell moldy or anything. So we're going to water them, and then we're going to use hydrogen peroxide and cover them back up. They have one more day to be underweight. And now we have our sunflower seeds. They're really starting to root. Let's see how they're doing underneath. Okay, no visual signs of roots coming through yet. Okay, we're going to water them and use hydrogen peroxide. And put our top back on and our weight. And now for the arugula. Today is the last day to have a weight on it. So I'm hoping we don't have a lot that are still stuck to the top. Oh, there aren't very many at all. That's awesome. Okay. I'm going to look closely here. Let's look at what the bottom looks like. Okay, no roots coming through yet. Actually, I just looked again, and this is not the last day for the arugula to have weights. It has one more day. I guess everything gets 3 days of weights. So we'll wet it down, and I am going to go ahead and use the hydrogen peroxide as well. And put this back on. And I'm actually going to turn it to go the other way, so that I don't get channels that just go across, and put it back. All right, we will just let them rest for the night. Tomorrow will be their last weighted day, so I will water them as usual in the morning, water them as usual at night, and I will be back to see you on Sunday when we can take the weights off and put them in blackout. Okay, are you ready to see what one day in blackout did for them? Let's check it out. Look at that. Can you see how tall they are? Remember that we had them weighted, so none of this could grow up, but today they had room because of the lid being upside down, so they grew. They're very moist, so I'm just going to leave them. I do want to show you their roots though. Look at all of those roots. We did not have that in our last ones that I ended up getting rid of. So, these are doing amazing. I'm going to cover them up for the night, and then tomorrow they get to be uncovered and be under the lights. These are our sunflower seeds, and they have one more day of blackout, but let's see what we have tonight. Wow, see, they too are coming up. They're even and a little bit beyond the edge of the pan. Let's see how their roots are looking. Oh, we have roots coming out, so we'll make sure and spray in our bottom pan to keep them moist. And we will spray these. And I'm going to go ahead and put the hydrogen peroxide on again until they get out of blackout. Now we'll cover them up and let them sleep for the night. This is our arugula. Let's see how it looks. Wow, it really grew tall too. Do you see that? How awesome. Okay, we're going to water it. And it also has another day of blackout. Let's see how the roots are in the bottom. We've got a few little ones kind of starting. So we will go ahead and spray our bottom tray. And put their lid back on for the night. So the On The Grow website uses this product on all of their microgreens. Now remember, they were taken out of blackout this morning, and this is what they look like. Isn't that awesome? They're starting to get green on the tips. They've really grown up this way. And tonight, I am going to go ahead and water them with half a cup, so 4 ounces of our solution here. I'm just going to pour it all in around. And I'm going to go ahead and spray a little bit just so that all of those are wet. The solution is for their roots. So I want to make sure the peas are wet though. I'm kind of tipping it to get that solution on all of the roots, and now I'm just going to put it back. Okay, this is the last time that we're going to have our sunflower seeds in blackout. I will remove this in the morning, and they are looking very happy. You'll see their seed tops are starting to come off, and if I kind of gently brush them, maybe some will come off. They're not quite ready yet, so I don't want to hurt them. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the watering. And I do want to go ahead and make sure I get the tops of the plants, because that will help release those seed covers. Let's check and see what our roots are like underneath. Oh, we're getting some good roots. Look at that. I'm going to go ahead and put some more water down in our tray. Now tomorrow, when these are out of the blackout, I will bottom water them as well with our solution. Okay, let's see what our arugula is doing. Oh, we had a couple that kind of snuck out the side. I don't know if you can see how green they are in comparison to these yellow. Okay, I'm going to water them. And again, tomorrow they will come out of blackout, and we will feed them as well with the ocean solution. Let's check their roots tonight. There's a few. I'm going to go ahead and water in there. Okay, now I'm going to try to get all of these back in the lid. It's kind of hard when they get this long. And in the morning, I will take this cover off. They will be done with their blackout, and they will be fed the ocean solution as well. One of the other items needed to do microgreens is a fan. This is actually a computer fan, and it has a USB cord, and I just plugged it into a block, and it has this hook on it, but I didn't need to use that, so you can just pull it off. It's magnetized on there. It comes with this little self-adhesive magnet that you can put on the wall and then attach the fan to the wall. So that's what I did. I went ahead and stuck it on there. The little green button turns the fan on, and it has 3 different levels, and it really puts out some air. So I kept it on the medium level. I didn't want my microgreens to get cold, but they definitely need airflow so that they don't get moldy or any of that yucky stuff that they could get if they just sat and were stale. The fan needs to be on 24 hours a day. The lights, on the other hand, are on for 17 hours and off for 7. I just set an alarm for 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I turned the lights on at that point, and I let them go until the next morning at 8 o'clock a.m. when I water them. I turn it off at that point and then turn it back on again at 3 and just continue that cycle. Here's our peas, our sunflower seeds. I'm going to try to knock off some of these seed heads. Might have to just go in and lift them off. Some of them are loose. Hold the plant if it doesn't come right off, because these are supposed to be harvested, but we don't want to harvest them with these seed caps on them. Now, because I'm not selling these or, distributing them to other people, if there's a seed head on it after I've harvested them, I can just avoid it or don't eat that one or whatever. So it's not that big of a deal when it's just me. I am going to go ahead and get a couple more, and then I'm going to spray it down, and hopefully tomorrow morning the rest of them will come off. Then we have the arugula. We're just going to water and put them back on the shelf. Now tomorrow we will go ahead and harvest the sunflowers, so I'm excited about that. Here are our peas, and they are not doing as well as they should be. I don't know why. Their roots are kind of turning brown instead of staying white and pretty. They're not as tall as they should be, and actually they should have been harvested yesterday. This still has some moisture in it, so I'm not going to add any more water. I will spray up here, but I'm just going to put them back in like they are. And the arugula is very full, starting to kind of lay down because it's getting so leggy. And tomorrow is actually its harvest date, so we're not going to feed it today, and we'll just harvest it tomorrow. You guys, these peas are just not working. They have water in there, so I'm not going to put any in there. I'm not sure what the answer is to these peas. I'm going to start again, not for this video, but I will start again, maybe with coconut coir, and see how that goes. Here's the arugula, and it is time to harvest them. So I'm going to do like I did with the others. Now these are a little weird because their stems kind of fall down. So I might get some that are really short and some that are kind of long. They smell good. They smell like arugula. I'm trying to kind of stand them up as I cut them so that I can get longer ones. I'm really excited about these. I'm going to use some for my breakfast in the morning. I'm going to toast an everything sprouted bagel with avocado mash on top And then these arugula sprouts. I can't wait. I'm going to try my scissors and see if I can get them without having to pull. They're so delicate. I think that is better. Now, honestly, I should have already started more of the greens, but I wanted these to be complete first so that I could see how I messed up and what I needed to do differently. And there's our arugula sprouts. And that's quite a big bunch of them. They smell so good. You guys, I want to thank you for coming along with me on this very long journey. I am really glad that I kept researching, and I will continue to research to see if there's a better plan of how to do these peas, because I really, really want the peas. I love the pea microgreens. So I'm going to go ahead and start more peas, more sunflower seeds, and more arugula, probably in the next day or two. And I hope that you have learned what I have learned, because I wanted you to know that it wasn't as easy as just sprouting something. If you have any tips for me, please leave them in the comments. I am open to learning. I love to learn, and when I do something, I want to do it right. Now, obviously, I am not going to go out and spend thousands of dollars on all of these special lights and special shelves and a special little trailer to do it in, or hydroponic tanks or anything like that, because I'm not going to sell them. They're just for me to eat. And if I can get them to grow in these little pans, I am so happy with that. It's okay if you do something for yourself that isn't perfect. I want you to know that. Just like I know a lot of people that are very intense with their sourdough. I'm not. I just throw it together. I don't fold it and coil it and whatever those things are that they do. I just make bread. In this case, I'm just sprouting seeds, just like I do for a garden. There's just a little bit more in the pan than what I'm used to sprouting. I hope if you are not interested in microgreens, that you have at least learned. If you want to learn something, you can, if you just keep working at it. It might be daunting at first, and you might feel like you don't want to show people because it's not ideal and it's not perfect, but you are making an effort. You are growing, you are changing, you are using your brain, and I love that. So keep it up. Just keep it up. And until next time, blessings on you and yours. I printed out on one side the type of seed it is and all of the information that I needed to know about it. Then on the other side, I made a little chart of sorts where I can put what date I start, whether it needs to be soaked, and if I did soak it. I can label the weighted days with a W, the blackout days with a BO, and then I can label when they're supposed to be harvested. And then as the days go on, I can mark off the days that I have accomplished. I am doing this in permanent marker on a laminated card because I know that a Mr. Clean dry eraser will just wipe it off when I'm done with it, and I can start it again and use it the next time I grow. This was so helpful.